Welcome to Morning Devotion with Ken Gurley. Devotions designed to inspire you on your daily walk with God. Here's your host, Ken Gurley.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Morning Devotion. Hey, we're here together. So good to see each and every one of you. Carla, Melissa, happy that you're here. Bobby, good to see you. Cindy, good to see every one of you. Our great MD family. Arise at midnight, your finest hour. What a subject. What a great subject for us today. And I hope you enjoy it. Share with others, and let's see some good things happen today. So happy that you're part of this. This is the day that we pray as the forces of the world decide what to do about the Ukrainian conflict. As humanitarian crises unfold along the borders of Ukraine with surrounding countries, but also at our southern border, the crisis down there on both sides, a humanitarian issue like never before. And we should pray as never before. Unusual times call for unusual prayers. Extraordinary times call for extraordinary prayers. Can I get a witness to that? Jim, happy that you're here. Thank you for making this a part. Carol, it's hard to believe that, I'm going to date myself here. August 77, Elvis Presley died. 45 years this year. He was called the King of Rock and Roll. Even to this day, he's referred to by that title. Born in 1935 in East Tupelo, Mississippi, to a poor family, son of a truck driver father and a seamstress mother. From those humble beginnings, he shook the world, broke racial, cultural barriers that existed at that time, brought rhythm and blues from the other side of the tracks where he was from, a place he knew well. From there to rock and roll. And I guess, as they say, the rest is history. All the songs that he sang, you can list them all. If I start listing them, you're going to want to start singing them. Yeah. And you can't do that. You can't be singing Elvis on morning devotion. Zane, Amy, you can't sing Elvis on morning devotion. But Hound Dog, Jailhouse Rock. Yeah, Sold over 1 billion albums, spent a lot of money, gave away billions to charity. But on August 16, 1977, 45 years ago, at the age of 42, Elvis died. The world was devastated. Funeral jammed with thousands of mourners, buried in a solid gold casket. Hundreds of thousands of people visited the shrine. Cults have risen. Some say he's still alive. The king is still alive. Yeah. The king was dead. That was the headlines 45 years ago. But if you open the Word of God and you turn to Isaiah 6, you read of another king that died. And a preacher was devastated by the news. Isaiah 6:1, in the year King Uzziah died, I saw also the Lord seated upon a throne, high and lifted up, and his train filled the temple. Here's what Isaiah learned, that even in dark times, God shows up. Can I just talk to you today? Arise at midnight, your finest hour. That's the expression I woke up early this morning with. Arise at midnight, your finest hour. So very thankful for each of you that's here. Thankful for your prayers. Wrapping up today in Milwaukee and coming back home. You can hear my voice. Oh, we had a great time last night with the leaders of the assembly here. But let me just talk to you and reason from my heart. Darkness can come suddenly to your life. A doorbell rings. Someone stands crying before you. Your phone rings. You're asked, are you the father? Are you the mother? Such and such a child. Yeah. Is your husband's name? Fill in the blank. Darkness. Darkness can come suddenly, or you enter into a hospital for a routine checkup only to hear there's a problem, it's bad, and it can come at you at the speed of light. Darkness. And suddenly the bright silver lining in every cloud is gone. Darkness has come. It was 1818 in France. Louis, a boy, age 9, was in his dad's workshop. His dad was a harness maker, and Louis was watching his dad work. Someday, Dad, I'm going to be a harness maker just like you. And the father asked, well, Louis, why don't you start now? He took a piece of leather, drew a design on it, and gave the young boy the hole puncher and a hammer and said, now, son, follow the design. Be careful. Be careful. The excited 9-year-old boy began to work, but he hit the hole puncher. It flew out of his hand, pierced one of his eyes. Louis would lose sight in that eye, and mysteriously, a few years later, he lost sight in his other eye as well. Louis was blind. Yeah. Several years later, he was outside, and he was holding a pine cone. And as he ran his fingers over the cone, an idea came to him. I have no sight, but though blind, I can still feel. And Louis would create an alphabet of raised dot. Louis Braille opened a new world to the blind. I'm thankful that darkness can be redeemed. But my point is, at 9 years of age, darkness came so fast. A fire engine blares, a home's incinerated, careless glance crossing the railroad tracks, a momentary distraction, diversion while driving, darkness. In this natural world, darkness comes gradually. But in our emotional world, our spiritual realm, it can come so very quickly. Dee, you've been there. Joy, you've been there. You realize how bad news just seems to fly at the speed of light. Jeremiah captured that. The imagery that Jeremiah uses, it's staggering to me. It's one of those passages in the Bible that speaks to this sudden darkness, and the imagery of Jeremiah 15. Their widows are increased to me above the sands of the sea. I have brought them up against the mother of young men, a spoiler at noonday. I've caused him to fall upon it suddenly, and terrors upon the city. Then verse 9 says, she that hath borne 7 languisheth. She hath given up the ghost. Her sun is gone down while it is yet day. The spoiler at noonday, the eclipse. The sun goes down while it's yet day. Darkness can come so swiftly. Isaiah felt that way. His hero had died. Not just any king, a good king, King Uzziah. And history would show that Uzziah was the last good king of Judah, a godly man. Hear the pathos in the prophet's voice. In the year that King Uzziah, my friend, my hero, in the year he died, what Pearl Harbor was to us, what 9/11 was to us, what pandemic was to this world, what the conflict and humanitarian disaster in Ukraine now is, what each and every disaster you can name and date and time. In the year of that darkness, Isaiah said, I saw the Lord. In the year of my trouble, I saw the Lord. At the time of my disappointment, I found God. At midnight on my emotional clock, when everything was shaken, I saw the unshakable God. When nothing was going right, I found the upright God. When my world was getting small, I found an awe-inspiring God. When nobody cared, I found the friend that sticks closer than a brother. Jose, he's there. Sharon, he's there. Lloyd, Kurt, he's there. When no one cared, I found the friend that sticks closer than a brother. When no one visited me, I found the one who would never leave me. When no one wanted me, I found the one who would gather me in his arms. When no one encouraged me, in the year that King Uzziah died, in the year of my darkness, I found help. I saw the Lord. I found the bread from heaven. I found a love greater than life itself. Hear me. MD family, hear me when I tell you. As quickly as darkness comes, light comes faster. Lynn, when the enemy comes in like a flood, the Spirit responds in a more magnificent way. It's coming. At midnight, we can arise. At midnight, we can see the Lord high and lifted up. I think it's a matter of perspective, maybe a matter of positioning ourselves to see the light, to see sudden glory, to find immediate help. Where can I find that light? Well, as the former king of rock and roll, if you asked him, he could tell you it wasn't in the local dive. That didn't bring a revelation. Those sequined costumes didn't bring sudden glory. The fame, the drugs, the alcohol, none of that satisfied Presley. No. He didn't find it there. He didn't find the light in such a place. Or ask others and what they're enduring now, the paper chase. People pursuing pieces of paper, of degrees and certifications of higher education. I'm not against education. But the human mind cannot turn light into darkness. No, and darkness into light. The philosophies of men can't illuminate the answers that we need. No, it can't. Why settle for human wisdom when you can have divine wisdom? One moment, in his presence, and all my fears, all my questions, they're all resolved. Oh, yes, they are. Yes, they are. You can't find light either in pursuing recognition. The papers today will be filled with obituaries of men and women who sought for glory and accomplishments. Their goals in life seem to be to build resumes, to show what they've done. But no, that's not going to ask. If you could conjure up Elvis and ask, what good did the gold and platinum albums do? Ask him what the gold-plated vehicles and the claim to fame gave him. Did it chase away the demons of darkness that obliterated his joy? Ask him, if you would, what good did it all do? He would tell you nothing. If you've read anything about his life, you would know that in his darkest moments, he would gather around the quartet of statesmen or imperials, some gospel quartets that backed him up. And he would say, help me, let's sing Amazing Grace. You see, there is a light. There is a light. And it's not in the lesser lights of this world. Last week, during Mardi Gras, thousands and thousands partied on Bourbon Street, Canal Street. The morning after, the street sweepers cleaned the aftermath of that binge. Thousands awakened with hangovers and stupors. You're not going to find light there. You won't find it in the big screen. You won't find it in the stadiums. No. Isaiah said, in the year that my king died, I saw the real king high and lifted up. In the time that darkness came, I went into the temple of the Most High God. I got into his presence and I found his glory. Yeah. Roy, there's glory in his presence. Nancy, Debbie, there's glory in his presence. Arise at midnight. Arise at midnight. It was after Isaiah saw the glory of God. He said, "Here am I, Lord, send me." I got to tell somebody about the light that has shattered my darkness. I've got to tell somebody about what I have experienced. I've got to share it with someone. I have to share it. Isn't that the need of the hour? The church is the only institution that exists for the benefit of its non-members. We don't exist for those on chairs or pews. We exist for those outside of the building. The Son of Man came to seek and save that which was lost. We've got to share the light. We that have tasted the marvelous things of God, we've got to share that light. If you go to 14th Street in New York City, you're going to find a large building owned by the Salvation Army, and upon the building is an inscription made by the founder of the movement, William Booth. He wrote, "As long as there's a fallen woman upon the street, I'll fight. As long as men go in and out of prison, in and out as they do, I'll fight. As long as there's a wayward little girl on the street, I'll fight. As long as there's a drunk stumbling on the street, I'll fight. As long as there's one lost soul in the darkness of sin, I'll fight. I'll fight. I'll fight until I die." Arise at midnight. You're not going to find the darkness. You're not going to fight the darkness by cursing the darkness. No, you need the light. You need the light of God. I started thinking this morning, let it be said of this church that at midnight we arose. We arose. And then that led me to remember one of those 3 successive speeches Churchill gave as the Battle of France wound down. It was obvious that France was lost to Hitler. Churchill prepared Britons for what was about to happen. It was in that address to Parliament in June of 1940, he arose and said, "I expect the Battle of Britain is about to begin, and upon this battle depends the survival of Christian civilization. Upon it depends our own British life and the long continuity of our institutions and our empire. The whole fury and might of the enemy must very soon be turned on us. Hitler knows that he will have to break us in this island or lose the war. But if we can stand up to him, all Europe may be free, and the life of the world may move forward into broad, sunlit uplands. But if we fail, then the whole world, including the United States, including all that we've known and cared for, will sink into the abyss of a new dark age made more sinister and perhaps more protracted by the lights of perverted science." He then said, "Let us therefore brace ourselves to our duties and so bear ourselves that if the British Empire and the Commonwealth lasts for 1,000 years, men will still say this was their finest hour." That's where we are, church. We live in confusing times, dark times. We sense an eclipse of all things most precious. The sun's gone down while it's yet day. Morality, peace of mind, sanctity of life, justice. The loss of trust in the past 2 years can't be measured. Anger off the charts. Fear rises like a dismal mountain from the mist. Hurts, sorrows, and griefs and passings that we've experienced. It's just been too much. It's been overwhelming for many. It's midnight in the moral world. It's midnight in our lives and in the world's history and in our nation history. But let it be said of this church from now through eternity, that we arose at midnight, triumphant, victorious, and we let the light of the love of God shine through us. Folks, hell is hot. Eternity is long. After Isaiah caught a revelation of the King of glory, he said, send me. I don't have time to get wrapped up in this temporal world. One day this old earth is going to drop its shabby coat and be reborn. But a soul is going to live forever. And at midnight, when you feel like your back is to the wall and you can't hardly do anything, arise, stand up, and let your enemies be scattered, because God is going before you. Natalie, God's going before you. David, Ronald, Bridget, God is moving before you right now. He's got all power. He's got all victory. He's got this. So arise at midnight. Let this be your finest hour. Sheila, Monica, Lisa, may this be your finest hour. May morning devotion family, all of you devotees, may you arise and see the mighty power of God on display. God bless you. Thank you for your prayers. Go have an amazing day. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow morning. Share this with.
Thank you for being a part of Morning Devotion. Even in our absence, as you know, a group from Morning Devotion, we're over in the Holy Land, having a great time. Continue to say a prayer for us. We're trying to post live some while we're over there, but thank you for continuing to gather together, encouraging one another in the Lord in our absence soon, very soon. We're going to see you again live. May God bless you. Share this with others. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the page, follow on Facebook. We look forward to seeing you again very soon. God bless.
Thank you for listening to Morning Devotion with Ken Gurley. Join us next time for another inspiring devotion. To support this ministry, please visit firstchurch.com/give.